All right, welcome back to Capital Offense. I am Will Schatz, and as always, I am here joined by Amir Alvik. Amir, how's it
Uh,
going?
it's going good. So the thing is, if you're Hispanic and you have tattoos, you're gone.
This is true.
Unfortunately,
This is true.
if you have tattoos and you're
Uh
Hispanic, you're
huh.
gone.
Yeah.
Um, so there's a story about that gay guy,
Uh huh.
that broke a while back about the guy. Well, there's actually a couple stories. Um, so there's a story of the gay guy, and he's probably beheaded or whatever in El Salvador. And then there's the other dude who had the MS-13 tattoos. You saw those stories?
I am aware of. I am aware of the MS-13 tattoos. I don't know that I'm fully aware of the gay guy.
Well, so it also happened to this gay guy, and it was a big issue because they had deported a gay guy into El Salvador
Right.
into these gang prisons,
Right.
and I'm sure the gangs of Venice or of El Salvador I don't, might not be too
Right.
I don't think they have DAI in those prisons,
Right.
but what was I saying? So on one of the stories about the guy who had the tattoos, um, apparently there aren't any like real solid evidence linking these deportations. Like I literally think what the only thing that the police had was gang affiliated things.
Mm.
And in one of the reports the police had put that he was wearing a hoodie with like money and
Mm.
like the heads of US presidents.
Yeah.
So
I
that means you're
saw
in a gang.
I saw one that was they were arresting people who wore Chicago Bulls hats
That's the same guy.
because
Same guy.
people in New York wouldn't be wearing a Chicago Bulls hat. That's they said it was like impossible, and they
Right. It's
couldn't.
impossible.
And they said it was because the Bulls aren't very good right now, so like
Yeah, I
nobody
mean,
they wouldn't know any of the players, which just doesn't make any sense.
well, it makes sense to me because why else would you be wearing a Chicago Bulls hat if you're not a gang member?
Right. I mean, I guess they have a point. I guess they have a point. But yeah, I mean, they're sending people for tattoos that aren't like. Didn't one guy have a lion tattoo? He just had a tattoo of a lion, and they sent
One
him
guy had
back.
like a I Heart Mom tattoo.
Yeah, right, right. I mean, they need to go to a biker like gang rally, like a biker gang rally, and check out some of their tattoos because those people should probably be deported. I mean, you can't. They might be El Salvadorian terrorists
Yeah,
with
I
some of
mean
their tattoos.
the thing is I honestly think what he's just doing is just like, oh look, I did a promise. I'm doing the deportation, but like you're just deporting random people. I think at
Right.
this
Well, I
point.
mean, and don't get me wrong. Some of these people are probably gang members and like have the worst
Sure,
interest for the country in mind. But
sure.
also, surely there's a better vetting process that we're not hitting here. We're just
Well,
not
so
hitting it.
this is the whole thing is I think I don't know how these visas work, but I think technically if you have a visa, you're not necessarily subjugated to the same uh due process that like an American citizen would
Right.
have.
I think that's the
So,
idea.
um
And I
but
think that's
most people
go ahead.
I was just gonna say I think most people are like, well, why did you let these people in anyway?
Right. And I think they're using part of the Alien Sedition Acts passed by John Adams, which a lot of people agree are like some of the worst laws ever passed in the country's history because it basically made it illegal to talk out against the government. However, the laws after they were passed, even though they were extremely unpopular, even in the 1700s, they were never technically repealed. Just they didn't really exercise any of the laws. So Trump's basis for a lot of these like visa deportations are that they fall under like the Alien Enemies Act, so they have the legal backing to deport these people. And the Supreme Court did come through and basically say yes, like you do, but also like these laws haven't been used in, I mean, basically since the country's founding, and now all of a sudden they're being used as a basis for a lot of deportations.
Yeah,
In a
it doesn't really
current
make sense.
modern administration. It doesn't make any sense, but that's how life goes, I guess.
But what does make sense?
Nothing. We buried the lead here. Since we last filmed, the Pope is dead, and it's J.D. Vance's fault. J.D. Vance killed the Pope.
J.D. Vance killed the Pope.
And
that's true.
It's really unfortunate that we buried this lead. I have on, I don't break news. I'm not a journalist, but I have it on good authority that PewDiePie will not be the next Pope. I really thought after Deji and iShowSpeed and Flight Reacts were not going to be the next Pope. I thought that PewDiePie had a good shot, and he will not be the next Pope. I on good authority, I have heard that. I would not expect that to happen.
I do wonder how they choose. I don't really know how this works.
So after, the only reason I know this is because I looked it up. I was like, when do we know? After the funeral, which was today, all of the voting cardinals, which I think there's like 126 of or something, will be like sequestered into, I think, the Sistine Chapel, and will meet for however long it takes until they have a 2/3 majority agreement on a new pope, which they have to vote like for one of them. They have to vote for a cardinal, and they will, like, it can take a day and it can take 8 months. Like, I know that there's
if the pope is black, Europe is gonna go insane.
They could pick an African pope. It wouldn't be the first time. They've picked like North African popes before.
Yeah, but I'm talking black.
Like Ugandan?
Yeah. Well, because here's the thing. Like, we're already in such a tumultuous time of like great replacement. Wouldn't it make sense that J.D. Vance kills the Pope and instates a black Pope to
why would he instate a black Pope? Why is
I don't think you understand how much J.D. Vance has control in the Catholic world.
He's only been a Catholic for like 6 years.
Oh, did he convert to Catholicism from freaking Southern Baptist or whatever?
Something. I don't know that it was Southern Baptist because he's not from the South, but he's not been a Catholic for very long.
Well, okay. And so the Pope is dead. Mm-hmm. We need, and here's the thing: a lot of people like Pope Francis.
A lot of people did like Pope Francis.
He was very, he didn't do much.
I mean, he did a lot.
No, he did a lot, but he didn't do much in regards of going to war, crusade. Like, where we need base popes. We need popes who are going to put their foot down. We do need base
popes. We need popes that are going to retake the Holy Land.
Right, and I want the next pope to. If the next pope doesn't bring on another crusade,
right?
Catholicism is lost. Really,
I mean, we're talking about an institution that used to have the hardest of the hard lead it. I mean, the Catholic Church used to be,
nobody cares,
like, take no nonsense from anybody. They used to crown kings. Europe used to bend the knee to the Vatican. And, I mean, look at what they're doing now. I mean, you've got Pope Francis out here kissing the feet of women. Like,
yeah.
I mean, come on. We need somebody who's going to get on a boat and lead the battle himself for the heart.
Well, no pope ever did that.
For the heart. Well, no. There were popes that definitely went to the Middle East during the Crusades.
But they weren't leading the battles.
They were definitely there. They were definitely there.
They made sure it was safe. They were like looking around, and then they went. Because, bro, think about if you were the Pope like 200 years ago, like maybe almost 1,000 years ago, and you could just like command an army to just go to the. But those were when Catholics were about their stuff. Now it's about bread and wine and going to church sometimes.
Bro, if I was the Pope, I wouldn't shower. I would not shower.
Maybe it's a good thing. You know, when I did go to the Vatican,
they let
we
you
didn't
in?
get to see the. They did let me in, yeah. Well, they thought I was like a delegate from one of the Arab countries,
Ooh.
but I told them, guys, I'm just a tourist, and they
Right.
said,
Right.
uh, what was I gonna say? I did go to the Vatican. We went to the square when the Pope goes to address stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Was he there?
and it was pretty cool. He wasn't there, unfortunately. He never came out, but the Vatican's a pretty cool area. I could see why people like have such a weird obsession with this like process,
Right.
because like Catholicism is like really such like a like just as much of it is a religion. It's a like entertainment sphere of just like things.
Certainly, it is definitely entertaining, but it's also like there's a fascination about it because it is. I mean, it's as old as like modern humanity. I mean, like since the year
I don't know about
zero.
modern humanity.
I mean, basically, like since. I mean,
What
we're
are we
talking
considering modern?
like the year zero. Like the church has
Well, yeah,
always
I
been
mean,
some kind
you're,
of
you're starting the time of when Catholicism started. It's like if I was like,
but I mean, like that's you would think like hand in hand, like religion, like modern religion as we know it, kind of. I mean, started with Catholicism. I mean, timeline wise, when did the Prophet Muhammad become enlightened? Like
well, it would have been the
150?
Jews first. It would have been the Jews
Right,
first,
right. The Jews
the
were
Catholics.
definitely there, and then the Catholics, and
and then Islam.
then Islam, and then like Gooning is
The
new
Gooning religion?
The Goon religion, which is what I operate in. That's my
Yeah,
religion.
Yeah, I converted to the Gooning religion.
Uh-huh.
I'm a Goonist.
Yeah,
I mean that's pretty much what like a Buddhist is,
bro.
because they can never like touch themselves.
No, that's like the opposite. Gooning, it's like like how the like thought process.
Oh,
of,
you
like,
just look. Yeah, you just look.
like semen retention. I don't
Yeah.
do that.
I don't either.
Like-
just to be clear.
Any semen I create immediately leaves my body.
Man, that's a lot.
Like it just like I have a constant stream, just flowing.
that's a lot. We're gonna clip this.
No, it's just like it's always coming out of me. I don't.
Yeah, I got it.
I don't know how to stop it.
Right.
I was hoping.
Well, that might be something.
I was hoping you would have advice on how to get it to stop.
That might be something you have to go to the doctor.
I've taken a piece of duct tape and put it over the exit, and it won't stop.
That might be something Dr. Fauci would have to.
Dr. Fauci is laying low. The guy is laying low. He does not want to stir up any controversy with the Don. Dr. Fauci.
Well, dude, he might get like beheaded in the Washington Square.
He might. Bro made
Like,
COVID and then dipped out.
Next to the Washington Tower, or whatever that tower's called.
What do you think that? You know the video of the kid singing the song for Dr. Fauci? The Dr. Fauci give us vaccines?
Yeah.
What do you think?
What's that guy doing
Yeah,
now?
what do you think he's doing? That guy is like the biggest
man.
cuck on earth. Like if you
He was a kid. I think he was like.
I think he was like he was younger. I don't know that he was a child. He seemed
No,
like
no,
he
no,
was
not like a child.
either
I mean, like.
late high school or like early college.
That's what I'm saying.
But like I don't know how you could be so weird.
Such a loser.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean like and then his closing line in the song is Dr. Fauci, don't forget me. I bet Dr. Fauci.
You know,
likes
when
that song.
the thing about America is if you're not making money off of a pandemic, you're not doing America right.
Right.
Um,
Of course.
and that's Dr. Fauci showed us what being a true American is.
Bro, Dr. Fauci's a hustler.
Right, and
He's a
that's what I'm
hustler.
saying. Like, where is he from? New York, or I think he is actually from New York. Isn't
I
he?
think so too.
Yeah, like he has that New York hustler street mentality, and he saw an opportunity and he took it. He became the best. He became an author. He became a philosopher.
And what's the
he became
race?
a doctor. I think he might be Italian.
You think?
Fauci? Sounds Italian.
Okay.
Don't No, it
Okay.
can't be.
Okay. All right.
No, it can't be.
Okay.
Fauci?
I mean, I'm not saying anything. I mean, like white.
Well, you actually might be right.
He's
Hold on,
white.
just relax. Just relax.
I mean,
Oh, oh no. Early life. That's where you go. Early life. Doesn't say. I think he's Italian.
Italian.
I think he's probably
He's
Italian.
Italian.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
born in New
Fauci's not
York,
Italian.
1940s of Italian
Whew,
ancestry.
close one, right? Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I think I think
But
I'm sure he
anyway,
was Catholic. Actually, speak of the devil.
but yeah, that's Dr. Fauci's a true American, um, and I strive to be Dr. Fauci.
Yeah. Well, he's also the one that covered up the AIDS crisis too. So he's a real stand-up guy.
Yeah.
India and Pakistan are about to go to war.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, dude, I'm so glad you brought this up. I forgot about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
No, you read what's happening?
India cut off the water supply into Pakistan, like their main water supply in the agreement they had. And bro, the Pakistanis are
They're going
mad,
crazy.
bro. They are
They're going
heated.
crazy.
They are heated.
Well, so I heard. So the biggest issue between them is the contested region of Kashmir, which is this mountainous area that India occupies. It's full
Okay,
of
okay,
Muslims.
hold on. Backing up, that's not the biggest issue between them. The
No,
biggest
that's-
issue
but that's-
between them is that they hate each other, and they have hated
But that's
each
part of
other
the reason.
Right.
That's the disputed territory.
The main reason is that you've got one country that has one religious belief set, you've got another country that has another religious belief set, and the British just like got overthrown, and then nobody told them how to run a country. So they both suck. They're both terrible nations.
Pakistan's all right. Dude, Pakistan's not one of the best militaries.
Pakistan,
definitely in Asia.
If they had the U.S. GDP, they would be a utopia.
And but anyway, so there's this disputed area of Kashmir, that's occupied by India, and Kashmiris are Muslims, which
Right.
naturally puts them on the Pakistani side.
Right.
And so terrorist attacks have been ramping up in Kashmir, and like the Pakistanis and Indians are about to go at it, and I'm
Yeah.
here to watch.
Yeah.
I'm
well,
here to watch.
I know that there was that terrorist attack that killed like 23 people.
That probably was Kashmir.
And I think it was, and I know that India has moved warships like into the region of Pakistan. Like they're about to throw down. They're about to get after it, and I am here for it.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's overdue.
And it's gonna be the stinkiest war ever.
Yeah, they definitely will. And I think it's overdue. I think
It's about time.
Yeah, I mean, like, listen, these are two dogs, right? That sit there and bark at each other, but they don't ever have any bite. Like, let's get after it. Like, let's see really who's the best. And the problem is, too, Pakistan also, you know, they don't have very many friends on their borders. Like Afghanistan, they're not super big fans of the Taliban running Afghanistan. They have had issues. They've had border skirmishes there. And now, you know, the Indians are popping off. And, I mean, maybe Pakistan could ask for Chinese help because China doesn't like India.
But China like Pakistan?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't think China's really in the business of like helping in wars right now either. I think they're trying to be.
India has contested borders with I think almost every country surrounding it,
Right.
besides maybe Sri Lanka.
But listen, you know, there's a sleeper country in this whole thing. I think Bhutan could really, really gain some land here.
You know, the Buddhists there in Bhutan actually are like wild. They're insane.
Are they? I don't know anything about
Yeah.
Bhutan. Like, I know nothing.
Yeah,
I do
they're-
know that China like kind of fuddles microchips through Bhutan, like U.S. microchips that the U.S. says they can't have, but they send like a ton to Bhutan, and China just takes them. So that's kind of cool.
That's cool. But I mean, listen, if India and Pakistan do bust it out, that's gonna be the one war where I might actually just kind of enjoy.
You know, as long as the U.S. doesn't get involved, I mean, just let them duke it out. Let them like 1v1. Let them duke it out, and we'll see who comes out on top.
And I don't think they'll actually go to war. To be
No, I
honest,
don't think so
because
either. don't think so either. But let them duke it out.
But it would be cool.
We are in this, there's a system in Hearts of Iron, if you're familiar. It's called the world tension.
You just lost every viewer.
It's the system. No, bro. In a politics podcast, there's somebody out there that knows what I'm talking. And it's the world tension, right? And so at the beginning of the game, the world tension starts at 0%, and it's like a 0 to 100%. And like as like it's a World War II game, so as like Germany annexes Austria and like invades Poland and stuff, it progressively ticks up. And then like you're in World War II basically when that's at 100%. Right now, I think we're probably at like what, 15 or 20% world tension.
It does seem
like it's
it does
ticking
seem
up.
like it does seem like it's kicking up, and I don't
we didn't even
necessarily know why.
Talk about the U.S. confirmed that they stopped Israeli airstrikes into Iran.
Oh, well, that doesn't really mean much to me because Trump literally said like, "Oh, if Iran doesn't do this new deal, like we don't need Israel. We're just gonna do it ourselves."
Right. But it could like that was something that in the event it hadn't been stopped, they would have just done and just launched the attacks anyway.
Yeah, I don't know.
The funny
dude. I don't
thing
know.
is that Obama had a deal with the Iranians, and Trump is the one that tore it up. And now he's like, wait, why don't we have a deal?
Right.
Maybe it's because you tore it up. Also,
right. And
Iran doesn't have nukes. They've never even been close to a nuclear bomb.
Dude, I've been reading articles. So, like, there's been this, like, meme going around where it's like, Iran is close to nukes.
Right.
And like, I saw an article from, like, 20 years ago where it's like, Iran is the biggest. Like, dude, literally, they have been saying this for 2 decades. That Iran is close to a nuke.
It's the same playbook that they used in Iraq. Like, it's the exact same playbook. It is... They don't have nuclear bombs. They have no interest in a nuclear weapon. What would they use it? I mean, to shoot at Israel? Like, is that the only...
I think their biggest... I think Iran's biggest, justification of nukes is because Israel has nukes. So...
But they've never like... Our own U.S. intelligence tells us that they have never been close. They've never really even been interested. And don't get me wrong, like, maybe they're doing it in the secret. They're moving in silence like the G in lasagna. Possible. I don't know. But, I would tend to believe what we've heard over the last 25 years about their nuclear presence, and just not get into a war over it.
If he runs... If he does lead us into another war in the Middle East, he will probably be one of the most unliked presidents ever. Because people are already tired of these wars, especially like the reason why Bush or like Obama aren't the most unpopular presidents is because these wars were kind of accepted.
Right.
And now they're almost completely not. Like by the average American, everybody understands like, oh, we don't actually need to do this.
Right.
And Trump is already has pushed the line on a lot of things.
Well, it's kind of like
So I don't know if he would commit to this. I don't know.
The American people have very much like it's like fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You're not going to fool me a third time. So, they tell you in Iraq that Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction. He did not. He just didn't. They're, you could make the argument that country was far more successful under Saddam Hussein. Then, they do the same thing with Libya, and they say that Gaddafi is going to commit genocide on all these people and that Christians are being prosecuted and we have to overthrow Gaddafi. And Libya you can't even argue, like there's no argument, like it was better under Gaddafi's leadership. Libya is a failed state. They are like one of the worst countries on earth. And you can't argue that it wasn't. It was worse under Gaddafi. Like it was definitely better. And you push those two wars so hard, and everybody's in on it, and everybody wants to do it, and then like nobody's gonna trust you now. Like you're saying, oh well, they're gonna kill Israel, and they're gonna get a nuke, and they're gonna like no, like nobody believes you. Nobody wants to send American troops into the Middle East again. Like,
I mean, I mean, you remember like the 1 week stretch about the Houthis, like recently, like that
Right.
failed quickly. Like
Right.
people just weren't buying that the
Right.
Houthis were a threat to American
Well, they've now
at
switched
all.
back to Hamas. They've switched back,
Right.
and
Um.
listen,
And
the Houthis are pirates. Like we're talking about people that are on a similar level to pirates. Like they're not a
well, and they're just not a like. It's like what JD Vance said in that group chat. It's like I think he said our American trade is 2%, or only 2% of American trade goes through the Red Sea.
right.
So it's like what the frick are we bombing another country for? But I don't know. I think the American people are not going to buy it anymore, and I don't think he would go into a war. He's supposed to be the peace candidate, so
Yeah.
I don't know. But in other news in the Middle East, this is something that I really wanted to bring up because this is actually kind of huge, and I'll wrap it in for you and I'll let you know how huge this is. It just came out that the new president of Syria said that he's willing to normalize relations with Israel under the correct conditions. So recently, U.S. congressmen and women from the U.S. went to go visit the president of Syria a couple days ago. It was like a unofficial, informal visit that they just went to go see and talk to him.
Right.
And according to Corey Miller, I believe is his name, one of the congressmen, that the president said to him that he would be willing to recognize Israel under certain conditions. Now, why this is so huge is you're talking about almost like North Korea, South Korea level tension, like U.S. Russia Cold War style tension.
Right.
It's not obviously not like internationally as impactful as U.S. and Russia, but it's like think about these two countries that border each other have gone to war like maybe 4 times, and have never had any sort of like peaceful diplomatic talks. It's like a North Korea South Korea level tension where like it could explode at any moment. So after Assad falls, now this new president saying that he's willing to recognize Israel is making everyone kind of like raise their eye a little bit because what the frick? Like it was out of nowhere. Like you're telling me this two countries who have been with war ever since Israel was founded in independence now is willing to just be independent. Now people are speculating what the conditions are. Because the Arab world has already said that they would recognize Israel under certain conditions. So maybe the conditions are the same. I don't know. But it is kind of wild. It is kind of wild.
I think a lot of the hatred of Israel in that region is because they just continually attack their neighbors. It has nothing to do. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure certainly a lot of these Arab countries do not like a predominantly Jewish state, especially in a land that they would probably like to occupy, because I mean they were just kind of carved out, right?
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, I would say a high majority of the tension actually comes from the fact that Israel just launches missiles into other countries all the time.
Right.
So,
I mean, in 2002, continue.
I would just say that's great that Syria is interested in doing that. Is Israel interested in doing that? I think Israel has an interest in attacking other nations in that region.
Right, and that's one of the biggest like arguments and criticism of the president saying that. It was like, dude, what are you doing?
Right.
Like, well, it's specifically it's joining the Abraham Accords, which is just meaning that the U.S. would then have to pay another country because Egypt is the #1 receiver of U.S. foreign aid.
Right.
And that is to normalize. That was to normalize relationship with Israel, and Jordan the same thing. So the U.S. Basically bribes Jordan and Egypt to make peace.
Right.
Saudi was about to do it. All these Gulfs are about to join the Abraham Accord, and now Syria wants to. And so that's another whole thing. Is like, okay, should the U.S. be having to pay these countries to make peace with Israel? And it's not even. And the thing is, it's a ticking time bomb because there's no actual normalization, right,
No.
between the people.
Right.
Like between like the Syrian people, the Egyptian people, the Jordanian people, they're not receiving this money, and they're also not wanting to make peace with Israel.
Well, and it's, I mean,
So like it's like this forceful bribe.
Right.
Like
And
here, just take the money.
it doesn't solve the actual deep rooted problem, which is the Israeli government and
Right.
the stance on that they have towards a lot of the other, pretty much all the other Arab nations. Like they see themselves as, I mean, and especially with this, like genocide that's going on in Palestine. Like I truly believe that they want to establish more territory and they want to establish like a greater Israeli state. I don't know
Yeah.
if that is, I don't know what that land entails, but I mean, especially with kind of their opportunistic nature in Syria, whenever Assad fell and they, that kind of short civil war that they had, and how they, invaded the southeast and took over military like bases and established
They swooped in
checkpoints and
quick.
stuff. Yeah, that's not what a country that wants to make peace does in that situation. And so, it's
It just goes back to what you're saying is like that world tension meter.
right.
It just
It's ticking
slowly
up.
is
It's ticking
right.
up.
It's slow, and I don't understand why. Like it started with probably Russia, Ukraine. I think that was like the big
For sure.
in
Yeah.
like the last 10 years.
Yeah.
I don't really know. Like that was the big kind of catalyst for a lot of these things.
Right.
And I don't know what's going on.
Trump
It
is,
just seems like we're hating each other a lot more.
Trump is not happy with the Russians right now. He said today that he thought that Putin was stringing him along with the peace deal, and he just wants to make peace. Which, as far as I know, the peace deal that was offered, that was brought to the table by that was brokered by the United States, is the secession of the like 4 states in the Ukraine that Russia wants. And a lot of people are not happy about that because they don't think that the Ukraine should lose any territory. I think a lot of people need to understand they got invaded and they lost the war, so they're gonna lose territory. Like that's kind of how wars work, especially between two established nations. Like if you want
you
the
can't
fighting
just
to
fight
end,
every Ukrainian to death.
right? And you're sitting at a point now where, and obviously Ukraine doesn't want that, but you're sitting at a point now where Russia is, I mean, they're starting to make gains deeper into Ukraine than what they have actually in the entire war. And you should, I mean, probably just cede the region, cede the regions that Russia wants and just move on. Ukraine should not join NATO. So the people, because I have heard an argument that's like, well, if you're going to make them give up territory, they should at least join NATO. No, like that's not what NATO
Well,
is.
that's one of the whole points of this.
Right. That's NATO, especially like when NATO was formed and Russia was really worried about it. It was explained to them, like Poland was promised to never join NATO. And so then Poland joins, and Russia's like, wow, this is really odd. So Ukraine was always that red line that they didn't want them to cross, and they started to approach Ukraine joining NATO, and Russia invades. And so, I mean, that's a very sticky situation. I do remember one of Trump's promises is that he would have that war done in the first 100 days.
I think he's like first day. I think he was
Well, he
like,
did.
oh,
That
first
was. I
day.
mean, obviously, like, kind of took that as hyper.
Exaggeration.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Like he was maybe negotiations would start, but that war, honestly, to me, has it seems the hottest it has in a long time. I think there was a while there where they were kind of negotiating, and so like it had slowed down. Um, also, don't let anybody tell you that Ukraine could win that war because Ukraine cannot
Well,
win that war.
I think Trump is also going to realize like, because there can exist two two beliefs, and that yes, that Ukraine did get invaded and that Russia did start this war. Um, However, Russia was provoked, kind of, pretty much, into this war. And then there's
Right.
sets another view, where it's like, okay, um, like I feel like people could, for some reason about this war, it's like one or the other. You cannot have these two beliefs that put you in the middle of, okay, well, Ukraine obviously is not the bad actor in this war. They're the
Right.
ones that got invaded.
Right.
However, Russia did get provoked by the West,
Right.
um, and kind of essentially just won the war.
There, and I agree with what you're saying. There, it does seem to be this idea that you cannot, like, Russia was provoked into this war. They justified in their minds their reason for invasion. Also, you can believe that, and at the same time believe you can't invade your neighbor. Like Russia shouldn't have
Right.
invaded the Ukraine. Just because you say they're provoked does not mean you're agreeing with the provocation. And
Yeah.
any any way there are things that Russia could have done to avoid invasion. I can see why they approached that as like a, well, we're just going to show them that we're serious now. We're going to walk in there and win a war. Um, Now, with that being said, you shouldn't invade your neighbor. Like everybody should not, like, especially with some of the videos that I've seen from that war. I mean, let's have some like humanity. War is never good. It is
Yeah, it's
always
brutal.
it is always like it always has victims, and it. There's a lot of people that have died for like geopolitical alliances. So I mean, it's mighty unfortunate, but hopefully they figure it out. They got a long way to go, I think, though.
Yeah, and also for some reason coming into this election, there was this like weird, like glazing of Russia from the right that just was like, guys, like this isn't necessary to come out and just like start giving like a weird, unnecessary like props to Russia. It's like at
Right.
the end of the day, like I don't agree with this, but like Russia has always been the U.S. enemy. So why is there like this now weird like?
Right. Well, and I think
Oh, Russian's the good. Like Putin's a good guy. He's a really
right.
like
And like from
Putin could end the war. It's up to Putin. To
Yeah,
end the war.
Putin could absolutely end the war. And you can have respect for Russia and their history as a nation because I mean they have a very interesting and rich history without respecting the regime that controls Russia. Russia had a real chance, and I mean, this is a combination of their own fault and the West's fault. Russia had a real chance after the collapse of the Soviet Union to become a peaceful global player, especially in Europe. And whether it's we could get into the argument of whether it was their fault or the West's fault. It was a combination of both, and they are not a they that ship has sailed. We are past that point, but we really had an opportunity after the Soviet Union to integrate them into the global community and make a peaceful nation an ally. And you can't argue that a peaceful Russia in that case and after the fall of the Soviet Union would have been bad for the world. It would have been
I do think I do think within these next 4 years, I think the America will broker some sort of deal. I think it's a I'll be honest, I don't really know what Russia's waiting on. I don't know if it's coming from the Ukrainian side of I obviously Ukraine doesn't want to give up territory. So maybe that's it where like they're not willing to but I don't know. I don't know if they've even done direct negotiation
I, I
in a long time.
I don't think Ukraine wants to give up territory, and I think Russia won't come to the table unless that's a guarantee, and also they have the guarantee that like basically Russia wants not quite an unconditional treaty, but pretty close. They want a lot of guarantees. And I think Ukraine, even if they don't join NATO, they still want like security guarantees from the U.S. And Russia's not going to go for that. I think they're really far apart. This is why,
Yeah.
but this is part of the reason why Donald Trump was elected, is he is a
Figure it
negotiator.
out.
He's a negotiator. He's a businessman. Go do business. Go get these people together. I don't know why we're still like doing the he said she said, like Zelensky's over here meeting with the West and Putin's over here like just leading the chart. I mean, it like get them together in a room with the president of the United States, because that does still hold some like esteem. Like there is a pause when the president of the United States walks in the room and tells you to do something. So use that leverage and get a deal done. Same thing in Gaza. Like the only reason that's still continuing is because of Israel. Like all it would take is
Yeah.
the U.S. coming in and saying, "Hey, like this is over. This war is over." Like, yeah, I mean, clearly, Israel has accomplished pretty close to a total victory in that region. It is destroyed. I mean, I'm not super impressed thus far with the peacemaking abilities of Donald Trump, but he's still got time. He's still got time. I hope the play isn't to string it along until like close to the midterms, and so they can use it as a re-election thing for a lot of Republicans.
It wouldn't make sense to do that because that would just show the Republicans they're not capable. Because, like, if they wait till midterms in 2 years, that just shows them that they're not capable of accomplishing. Like I feel like that would worsen their chances of like, because you can't come into the election as a Republican saying that the Republican side is going to be the peace side, and then 2 years into it, nothing's changed, and you're gonna run off that same notion again. That doesn't really. I don't think
Well,
people would like.
I think there's a lot of people that would fall into the trap. Like the Republicans could say, well, we've been negotiating for the last 2 years, and this just happened to be the time that we made peace. Like, what would you rather us not?
I
make
honestly
peace?
think the Republicans are in some bad crap coming to the midterm. I don't think. I I think people are becoming disenfranchised. I think the same way that people are becoming disenfranchised with the Democrats, people are becoming disenfranchised with the Republicans because they're like, "Whoa, this isn't." A lot of the stuff that Trump is doing and his administration is doing is mm, like what we didn't ask for Elon to do this. Like a lot of voters were not expecting Elon for some reason to be like Trump's freaking handler.
Right,
I'm joking, obviously saying that, but you get what I'm saying.
right.
I don't know, dude.
I
I don't
think
know.
I think a lot of this is just going to result in a lot of political apathy, and I think we aren't going to see a lot.
That's
of
a good
people,
thing to me.
I think we're going to just not see a lot of people turn out to the polls. It really shows also the like inability of the Democratic Party to capitalize on any of this. Like they
Oh
still
my
have
God, they're
they
so
still
bad.
have no
They're so bad.
support behind them. I mean, we're talking about an administration that gives you something every single day.
They're so
They
bad.
give you
I don't know
something
who's
every
running it.
single day, and they can't
They're
rally
so
around
they're
anything.
doing
And
so
it's really shocking. I mean, like any other political party, like the old Democrats would be all over this, but they don't have a leader. They don't
They don't
have
have freaking
they don't have like
Obama.
they don't have anybody,
Clinton.
and it shows. I mean, it really shows. And I think now
I think
more
it's
than ever,
over.
you could see. I mean, you could hope to see a third party rise out of this, a spin-off
Dave
party.
Smith for president.
Right. Yeah. 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 That would be great. A lot of people love Dave Smith. No, I don't. I don't think the libertarians would have a shot at it. But
Oh, but the Libertarian Party's a joke.
I mean, I.
We have to go to one of their conventions.
Oh, I think that would be great. I think that would be, and I agree with them on a lot of stuff. But there's a lot of stuff that a lot of libertarians believe that I'm just like, what are you talking about? Like, there's got to be some place for government. Some libertarians are like total anarchists, and don't get me wrong, is that a lot of libertarians? No, but I mean, like, some of these people like legitimately make arguments for basically like
Anarchy.
Yeah, I mean, just like some crazy stuff. So, I mean, yes, I do think. Where's the Libertarian Convention being held? They have one, I think, every year. Let's see.
Probably in like
Libertarian.
North Dakota. I don't know.
Honestly, that would be pretty lit. Convention 2025. Let's see. 2024 Libertarian Party meeting notifications. Here we go. Whoa. Libertarian National Committee will meet May 17th and 18th in Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Oh, I'm down.
That could be fire. Bro, we could
Well, you can catch
report on site of the Libertarian Convention.
Will and I at the Libertarian Convention.
That'd be fire. That would actually be pretty fun, I think. I think that
it would be hilarious.
That would be pretty funny. Like, dude, like interviews, like where we're like, how do you feel about driver's licenses? Like,
And the thing is, they'll be like, I hate them. Like,
you will find some people that are like, you should be able to. Free will dictates that I should be able to do whatever I want. It's like,
oh, should we have passports?
Right.
No, like, dog.
How do you feel about a speeding ticket? Like, I hate it. I hate it. Yeah, they're interesting cats. I'm trying to think. Is there anything else that happened? I feel like we're missing something over the last week.
I mean, I think we covered a lot of.
Pope is
a lot of good
dead.
stuff.
Pope is dead.
JD Vance.
JD Vance killed him.
Deportations.
Israel
of
again.
course.
Israel every week. Is there any conspiracy theory that we should have hit? How did Building 7 fall?
I don't think so. I think that's been covered a lot. I think this episode was good.
I think so too.
There was a lot of news and
there was a lot of news. Hold on, let me do like one final skim of the news, just so that when we dip out of here, we don't miss anything. I'm literally literally looking up news and I'm hitting the news tab.
That was a good one.
Trump and Zelensky meet one-on-one in Vatican to seek Ukrainian peace.
Kind of covered that already.
250,000 people attended Pope Francis's funeral. That's a lot of people.
Oh, hold on. You'll eventually find JoJo Siwa and humiliated Kath Ebbs breakup after Celebrity Big Brother finale.
Whoa.
Yeah, okay. I think
looks like there was an Iranian, maybe terrorist attack?
What's new?
Big explosion, fire killing 8, injuring 750.
What's new?
Oh, yes, Trump did start selling Trump 2028 merchandise.
What's new?
Let's see. Anything else? I'm looking like 2 hours ago. What did you think of the NFL draft?
Didn't watch it. I think we could end it there. I think it was good.
2-year-old U.S. citizen may have been deported without meaningful process.
Must have been a criminal.
Okay, yeah, I think that's it. Did you see the picture of the dead Pope?
Yeah, he looked like Palpatine.
He was very gray. He was very, very gray. Which I get it. He's dead. I can't make fun of the guy too much. I did, so we'll end on this because this is an interesting story. I don't remember what Pope. This is a great. It was a very long time ago. This is a very good way to tell this story, but people can look it up. They can Google it. There is a Pope that was so hated when he was the Pope. He died, right? And they sealed his tomb. They buried him. They sealed his tomb, right? He was dead for 7 months. They hated him so much that like these new cardinals took over and they like unsealed his tomb, and then they put his dead body on trial. So they had a 7-month decaying corpse on trial, and they found him guilty, and then they threw him, I think, down a well. His body. They threw his body down a well. He had been dead for 7 months. And so they basically had like a skeleton with like chunks of flesh hanging off of it on trial. This was obviously a very long time ago. This was like I want to say like pre-1400. Like this was a long time ago.
Yeah, I think that's pretty indicative of our court system now.
But I mean, yeah, basically. But yeah, he could not defend him. Hey, like it was just his body. He was dead.
Right,
I don't
right.
like they could have maybe given it up. Like so yeah, I think they should do that with Pope Francis.
Yeah, well, I think that was a good note to end on.
I think so too.
You know,
a little fun
if
fact.
you guys watched, thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks for watching. We will hopefully establish a weekly filming day soon, so we can come more prepared every week, and you can expect a certain time from us. But with that being said,
one thing, go join our subreddit.
Yeah, we'll message something, and hopefully maybe I'll update the description of this episode to include all of our socials. We are going to start posting on there more, so if you are interested in more capital offense content, we're going to get a subreddit going, we're going to get a Twitter going, hopefully an Instagram, hopefully a TikTok, and start posting some short form content to lead people back to the full pod. And we're just trying to make this thing more official, so keep an eye out for that over the coming days. We will keep you guys informed, and I think that's it. I think we've covered our bases. Please like it. We didn't say this last time. If you rate the podcast, like it on YouTube,
and
subscribe on YouTube. Hammer that, and then what's it? Bro fist.
Oh no.